Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is our basic human right to be fucked up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
Hello and welcome to Occultae Veritatis podcast. I'm Misfit, and today I'm joining the cast by remotes.
Sage Mary?
Oh,
fuck.
I love remote intros. They're the best.
Our timing is always spot on.
What?
Richard Bigley!
Leon Felger. By the way. Fuck, I stepped on Leon's dick.
I'm the soundboard demon and I'm trying to hurt these cats.
Also, Jack Spratt is here?
Yes, I was waiting. Jack Spratt.
Good job,
you want to go with that one?
We're professionals, by the way. We're like 170 episodes in.
Yeah, just keep rolling along, Misfit. Let's go. We got some good momentum here.
Let's do it.
Great.
All right. I'm here to tell you all about a bizarre case of an American Revolution era dude who maxed his luck stats and character gen and nothing else. But before we get into that, let's get into some poison.
Nice.
So, what's your poison?
So what is your poison?
So, today I'm going to be drinking some Angry Orchard hard cider.
Oh, yeah.
What made the orchard so angry?
Leprosy.
You know, I'm not too sure.
Probably.
They stole its fruit, probably.
Yeah, probably people just showing up taking its fucking apples. Hey, that'd piss me off too, I think.
Also, the poor treatment of the migrant workers.
That
Yes.
too.
I'm drinking tea because it is in my time zone 11 a.m. and I will fall asleep at 1 p.m. if I try to drink alcohol. So I'm drinking Scottish breakfast tea from Macquarie's in Saskatoon, whom you should all check out as a family business.
McCoy's is the best. I'm drinking water from my tap.
Good. Drink lots of water. Drink all the water you want.
I will.
Get that fluoride inside you so we can
need it.
control you.
Yes, that's what I need. I need someone to help control me because I clearly cannot do it alone.
What is the theory behind that? What is the fluoride doing?
It calcifies your pineal gland. Clearly.
Oh, yeah.
Which is ridiculous because wouldn't you need, like calcium to do that instead of fluoride?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you fluoridated it, it would explode. Fluoride is a very reactive element.
Well, yeah, it's got fluorine.
Which is why my teeth explode on a daily basis.
It's awful, isn't it?
Does the pineal gland give me a fresh evergreen scent? Is that its function?
No, it's your third eye.
Feature.
Yeah.
It's my third eye?
Yeah.
It's true.
Depending who you ask, it either does that or it makes melatonin.
I thought my third eye was the brown one.
Wait, that's something that makes melatonin? I was buying it at the store like a dope. God damn.
The other thing it does is for a long time, people thought it was the seat of the soul.
Yes.
Because they couldn't figure out what it did.
Did they find a tiny chair in there? Is that what set them off?
Oh, that'd be so cute. A tiny calcified chair.
This one will be one for Bray, the Tuatara, which is an ancient lineage of reptile-type doohickeys. It has a third eye on, the top of its head that is linked, they think, through its pineal gland, although I don't know if lizards have pineal glands. But it can be used to see shadow, and they think it evolved because when hawks and things would fly over them, it would make it darker, and then they would go, and skitter away.
You know, I just clued in right at the end of that you weren't talking about a D&D monster.
No, it's ask Bray about a Tuatara sometime. I'm sure he'll go on about it. I'm pretty sure it's his avatar.
I'm drinking coffee. You know, I don't eat much coffee I don't like. You know, caffeine delivery system and all. So 10 out of 10 for my coffee.
This one smells like pee.
Ood and I are actually drinking the same coffee because I just cooked myself a batch too. But yeah, it's a good coffee.
I'm drinking Erdinger Weiss beer. Usually when you have like a wheat beer, it's got that very like sweeter, fruitier kind of aroma. They might throw some coriander in there, some oranges or something like that. But this one isn't really like that. It's also kind of melded with some hops and some malt. So it's a lighter beer, but it's also got a little bit of that bite to it as well. So it's an interesting flavor. It's complex.
Take a picture of it. I want to see.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
According to the website, it was brewed according to the German purity law.
Apparently good things do come out of German purity laws, but I'm not sure everything does.
See, I wasn't going to go there. I
Me too,
I
I
would
was-
make that comment, but I'm not going to go there because we are better people than that.
I
We're
am.
not. We're not.
Someone just runs, going in there, he's screaming Leroy Jenkins as he
Exactly.
runs into that. Yeah, okay.
It's a pretty easy setup.
I just shit myself, so I'm gonna go change my underwear and wipe my ass.
Okay, bye, Leah.
Trusted a fart.
It's happened to the best of us.
Not me.
For my poison, I am eating the soul of a ginger lad, and you might be thinking to yourself, but Soundboard Demon, our prophets Parker and Stone told us that gingers don't have souls. Fun fact, gingers do have souls, and they taste like cinnamon.
That's very on the nose.
When you say cinnamon, is this more like Cinnamon Challenge or more like a churro?
It's like crushing up a bunch of those cinnamon hearts you guys like and snorting them.
Oh,
yeah.
painful.
But that's a good thing to demons.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Is your butt feeling better, Leon?
Honestly, I haven't shit myself in years, and I just I pushed out a fart way too fast, and shit came out.
That's what happens when you get old, you can't trust some farts.
I know, I know.
Lord Dexter is a man of fame, most celebrated in his name. More precious far than gold that's pure, Lord Dexter lived forevermore. His house is filled with sweet perfumes, rich furniture doth fill his rooms. Inside and out it is adorned, and on the top an eagle is formed. His house is white and trimmed with green, for many miles it may be seen. It shines as bright as any star, the fame of it has spread afar. The images around him stand, for they were made by his command. Looking to see Lord Dexter come, with fixed eyes they see him home. Dexter, like King Solomon, hath gold and silver by the ton, and bells to churches he hath given, to worship the great King of heaven. Mighty deeds they are so great, he's honored both in church and state. And when he comes, all must give way, to let Lord Dexter bear the sway. When Dexter dies, all things shall droop. Lord East, Lord West, Lord North shall stoop, and then Lord South with pomp shall come, and bear his body to the tomb. His tomb most charming to behold, 1,000 sweets it doth unfold. When Dexter dies, shall willows weep, and mourning friends shall fill the street. May Washington forever stand, may Jefferson, by God's command, support the right of all mankind, John Adams not a whit behind. America with all your host, Lord Dexter in a bumper toast. May he enjoy his life in peace, and when he's dead his name not cease. In heaven may he always reign, for there's no sorrow, sin, nor pain. Unto the world I leave the rest, for to pronounce Lord Dexter best.
So yeah, like all good stories, I first heard about this guy from a furry lawyer on a Twitch stream during the start of the pandemic. So let's talk about Timothy Dexter, the self-proclaimed greatest philosopher in the Western world.
Nate.
I do want to emphasize self-proclaimed, though. His obituary said his intellectual endowments were not of the most exalted stamp.
Ouch.
I know, that's like high praise for 1700s, right? Dexter was born in Malden, Massachusetts in January 22nd, 1747. And as was common of the day, he didn't stay around in school too long. He dropped out by the ripe old age of 8.
Oh,
to
geez.
work as a farmhand.
So not for like super excelling reasons, for gotta work on the farm and work the land reasons.
There's some interesting reports that say that his family had their own farm. Others say that he didn't have a farm, so he just went to work on somebody else's farm. When he was 16, he became an apprentice leather worker. By 1769, he moved to Newburyport, Massachusetts, where he married the 32-year-old widow, Elizabeth Frothingham.
Oh, and how old was he?
In his 20s.
Can you tell me once more what Elizabeth's last name was?
Frothingham.
I've danced under that name.
That is a good name.
Frothingham. This elicits an image of a frothing ham.
I feel like I have to do a lot to a ham to make it froth.
But also, I believe ham is a suffix that means it was a village at one point. So that means it was the village of frothing. Where are you going this weekend? Frothing.
Maybe it was like by Rapids or something, and somebody just got excited.
It was just by someone's loins. They were frothing.
Yes. Loins is clearly the answer.
Apparently, the elementary school dropout had some game or something.
Yep.
Around the end of the Revolutionary War, he purchased large amounts of continental currency. Basically, back then, each state had its individual, own state dollars that would eventually just become worthless because they printed a shitload of them to finance the war. But eventually, a lot of rich businessmen and stuff would start buying them up just as a way of, helping to fund the efforts.
So, they were, backing the dollar so they can continue to be used?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, like how I've been buying rubles, yeah.
A little
bit. That was
bit.
a joke, to be clear.
I would hate that. Having to exchange currency to go over to Alberta or something?
I could totally see them having Berta dollars, though.
Yeah.
Berta bucks.
That was the thing, I think, the Social Credit Party in Alberta back in the 30s or 40s. I think that was actually one of their platforms, was that they were going to start their own central bank with their own currency for the province of Alberta. Out of that, they got the Alberta Treasury Branch, which is like a Crown Corporation bank in Alberta, which seems to be atypical for, Alberta.
What is Alberta up to? They're harvesting oil with nukes, and now they're trying to create company town proprietary currency. Alberta's got problems.
Alberta's strong, like Bama.
Okay, yeah. So each state had their own individual currency. Eventually, this one dude, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alexander Hamilton, would end up creating the Federal Reserve, where the government basically bought up all of the states' debts through their dollars and issued just a single currency, be the entire country's main form of exchange. They offered an exchange of 1% on the dollar, so you get back a penny for each state dollar that you do.
Oh.
Dexter had bought a lot of these things because the widow Frothingham had a ton of money to begin with. In that gigolo fashion, Dexter was spending all of her money to buy this worthless money that now suddenly became worth a lot of money.
So it's like Bitcoin.
Very much, yes. He was the first crypto speculator.
He just stumbled into it. He's like, I don't know, I'm going to buy this, see how it turns out.
Yeah, with his newfound riches, he took that shitload of money he had, opened a shipping company, got himself a mansion, and started living like Richie Rich.
He had a McDonald's on the inside of his house?
Honestly, when I was a kid, that movie was just pure wish fulfillment porn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Statues were his thing. He bought so many statues.
Why?
I mean, when you got a lot of money, you got to have some statues around.
I guess.
This wasn't the 1700s. This is a long time before Doctor Who created the Weeping Angels, so he doesn't have a reason to fear them yet.
Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead. They are fast, faster than you could believe. Don't turn your back. Don't look away, and don't blink.
Yeah, the people around the town weren't exactly fans of him. The rich ones, especially, because, new money and all.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't making a ton of cash off of his business, but he was more or less doing okay. A lot of these people decided to get together and start giving him business advice because they wanted to get rid of him.
Oh, no.
So he wouldn't have known back then that they were screwing with him, presumably because a lot of those other rich people were just respected businessmen. So of course he's going to take their advice. One piece he was given was to ship coal to Newcastle, something that would essentially be completely worthless because Newcastle at the time was one of the biggest coal exporters. but he went ahead and did it. He loaded up a bunch of ships and sent them all the way off. And this was at least like 200 years before Al Gore invented the internet.
Shipping coal to Newcastle was a saying a lot like selling ice to the Inuit.
Oh, really?
Like a thing that you don't do because it makes no sense to do.
Well, it's like going to Vancouver and selling tickets to see the sea. Like,
yeah,
you're already there.
This isn't the time of instant communication. So basically, if you wanted to send any kind of info, you had to like leave a letter at a tavern and hope it found its way to where it was supposed to go, because there was no like postal service yet. So he basically just loaded up a bunch of boats and sent them off with the coal. The boats happened to arrive around the exact same time that there was a major mining strike in Newcastle, so no coal was going out of there, and there were a lot of merchants that needed a bunch of coal to fill their orders, so they bought his coal at a premium, and Dexter just made a ton of money.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine being the like businessman who like jokingly told him that, and then suddenly he's like making serious bank?
Yeah, no, a move like that should have honestly bankrupted the dude, and I think that was their intention, just to get him out of the picture.
It's just like, surprise.
Oh my god.
He's starting to sound more and more like a trickster god. Like he's like a version of the cat that came back the very next day. Like no matter what you do, you can't bring him down.
Oh, put a pin in that thing about cats, because that's going to be relevant soon enough.
Oh no.
Another piece of advice he was given was to sell warming pans in the Caribbean. Obviously, same sort of idea. Waste your fucking money.
Yeah.
Warming pans were basically you'd put coals in them and shove it into your bed so it would warm it up during like a winter's night. It would be kind of nice. You have a hot bed. Not so useful in the tropics.
No.
This one is a little bit of a gray area because it's not sure if it's really a credit to Dexter or to the captain who actually took the ships down to the Caribbean. But once he got there and realized that, well, there's not much need for any kind of warming pans, but these things are big enough. If you took the lids off them and didn't use them for coal pans, they'd probably be good for stirring the large vats of molasses at the sugar plantations.
Oh.
And so he made a huge more amount of money off of selling tools for the trade.
Yep.
Yeah, nobody else would have thought of it, because, like, why would you bring that many warming pans down there? The captain kind of pulled his ass into the fire.
Oh, and it's more than that. Like, the Caribbean was like Dexter's personal gold mine. Another bit of advice he was given was to send a bunch of mittens down there. I assume he probably went with that because, well, the warming pans work. Send the mittens, they must be cold. He sends off a shipment of mittens just as there was like a expedition that was going to be going out to China by the Portuguese, and they bought up all of his mittens just in case they needed them.
Very clever.
This is what happens when you take luck as a dump stat.
Right? So another time, Newburyport had a huge problem with stray cats.
Oh no.
A town meeting was called. They voted on an article basically to eradicate all the cats. That measure failed because presumably at least 1700s America got one thing right and didn't want to kill all the cats.
Wise.
So Dexter took it upon himself to offer a bounty on cats. Basically, anyone who brought him a bunch of cats, he'd pay them some money for them.
Dead cats?
No, live ones.
Oh, okay.
Amazing.
He loaded up a bunch of boats with live cats and sent them off to the Caribbean.
Oh, to kill the rats and stuff.
Exactly. There was a big rat outbreak in those sugar plantations, so they bought up all these stray cats to try and kill the rats off.
Yeah, I wouldn't say these cats are slumming it. I know they do live outside, and outside is their home. We actually have 3 shelters here for these 2 cats. And even this past winter, when there was like 4 feet of snow out here, these cats were loving it. They, their cat houses stay around 72 degrees. They got the heated water bowl. They started to sort of roam the area, and we saw a large reduction in any sort of rat activity. It's a misconception that these cats are out there eating rats. They're not actually going out and eating them. If anything, they're just going out and hunting them for sport. The scent of them will keep the rats away from this whole city block.
They don't generally eat a lot of rats. They will kill some rats, usually in the beginning when they first arrive at a new location. But typically, they're actually just deterring them with their pheromones. That's enough to actually keep the rats away. So they smell the cats, they say, oh, this is a dangerous place for me to live. There's no reason for me to be here. And they actually move out to other areas.
Oh, there, look. Look, oh, you're getting it.
So with his newfound extreme riches, he ended up buying another house in Newburyport. And this one he decorated with minarets on top of the spires, golden eagles and everything, and even built himself his own mausoleum down in the basement. And
that's nice.
Yeah. In his garden, he had 40 different statues of a bunch of famous men, including George Washington, William Pitt, Napoleon Bonaparte, Thomas Jefferson, and himself, of course.
See, that's just one lightning strike away from them all coming to life and killing him in his sleep. I don't know how he lives like that.
His statue bore an inscription on it that said, "I am the first in the East, the first in the West, the greatest philosopher in the Western world."
Oh my God. But he kind of is.
And humble, too.
Right? Despite his good fortune, his relationship with his family had suffered a bit. He frequently told visitors for some reason that his wife, the widow Frothingham, had died. This was incredibly weird to a lot of people because they could just see her walking around the house or even around town, and he would always proclaim to them, "No, that's not my wife, that's a ghost."
Oh no.
He sounds like somebody who might not be all that smart, eh?
I mean, there's definitely something going on in there.
Maybe smart isn't the right word. Maybe he's just gutsy. And he might have a right to be gutsy, because, as he observed people laughing at him for what he was doing, he had great success anyway.
But very lucky.
Yeah.
I think that's the actual best way to have a divorce, is just to start telling people that your wife is a ghost. Because your wife will be sitting there being like, "I want a divorce," and you're like, "I can still hear her."
It's almost like she's in the room right now.
Dexter, are you telling those people that I'm a ghost again? I'm being haunted. There was one interesting episode where he decided to fake his own death, just to see how people would mourn him.
I've been curious myself, honestly.
As you do, I mean, really. Who hasn't faked their own death? Really, show of hands. Come on.
Okay, I once almost placed an obituary for Richard Bigley in the Saskatoon Star Phoenix as an April Fool's joke, and my parents had to threaten me out of doing it because it would have upset so many people, but I would have found it funny.
Is that illegal?
I don't know.
Well, that's how the Nobel Prizes came about. Was Alfred Nobel, who invented dynamite, they prematurely posted his obituary, and they're like, "Merchant of Death," and he's like, "Yikes, I'm going to be remembered pretty negatively." So he created the Nobel Prize for better PR.
Neat.
I mean, it's worked.
Yeah, it just so happened that his dynamite was useful as more than just an explosive.
Yes, that's true.
Actually, my dad was treated with nitroglycerin for a while for his heart problems.
Yeah, it's interesting. In New Zealand, and Australia, they will call it glycerin trinitrate, so people don't think of it as nitroglycerin when it's being used medically.
That's what shocked me when I was growing up, because I vividly remember, because I had a family member that took nitroglycerin for their angina, I think.
Yeah.
And then I saw on Canada History Minutes, or whatever it's called, like laborers working on the railroad, like very fearfully carrying a thimble of nitroglycerin, and then boom, and all that. And that always confused me.
In long-term care, we just call it the nitro patch.
And the nitro spray. Well, and that's what Alfred Nobel discovered, is that if you soak nitroglycerin into clay, it is no longer so sensitive to being jolted, and so it's much safer to use for explosives.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because he didn't actually invent nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin was well known. It's just that he figured out how to not have it be real explodey all the time. Also, fun fact, everyone gets dynamite and TNT mixed up. They are completely separate things. Dynamite is nitroglycerin and clay, and TNT is tetranitratoluene.
But cordite is cooler than both of them.
I like cordite. It's very good.
Cordite smells nice.
Tastes like fish.
I prefer a good old-fashioned fertilizer explosion.
Are you Timothy McVeigh?
Yes,
oh, no.
Yes, he is.
Not since I last checked.
Shush, that's for the finale.
So he faked his own death to see how people would react. About 3,000 people attended his mock wake. When he didn't see his wife crying or just even mourning very much, he jumped out of a bush revealing the hoax and caned her for not being sad enough.
So he didn't see his wife's ghost crying for him, and so he caned his wife's ghost.
I do wonder about the thought process, but Jesus. At age 50, he decided to complete his hero's journey and decided to become a published author. He created the book about 9,000 words long, where he basically complained about politicians, religion, and his wife.
So he was like a proto-boomer then, hey?
A little bit. Now get this, the title of the book, A Pickle for the Knowing Ones.
That is totally boomer.
But the cover art was a Minion meme.
Here's the fun thing about it. Remember what I said about when he dropped out of school?
Yep.
This dude did not know how to spell.
Oh, no.
There was no punctuation in this book.
And I'll try and read some for the episode.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I wish you good luck.
I'll read some right now. The First Lord in the United States, spelled Y-O United, of A. Mericary, now of Newburyport, is the voice of the people, and I can't help it, and it's so let it go now, as I must be Lord. There will be fuller many more lords pretty soon, for it don't hurt a cat, nor a mouse, nor the sun, nor the... There is literally no punctuation.
This is what reading a lot of old text
Oh my
is
God.
like. Like, this is disastrous, but, like, it is wild how creative spelling was before the 19th century.
It's like Chaucer.
Oh, I love Chaucer.
But this is at a time, I think, when spelling would have been more or less standardized.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is not.
The first edition of this book was self-published in Salem, Massachusetts in 1802. He originally distributed the book for free, but it became so popular that he ended up selling it, and it was reprinted 8 separate times.
My God.
The second edition of it was printed in Newburyport in 1805. In the second edition, Dexter responded to the complaints about the book's lack of punctuation by adding an extra page with 11 lines of just punctuation marks, the instruction that readers could salt and pepper it wherever they please.
Okay, maybe I like this guy a little.
Okay, that really won me over.
He's a troll. That's it. He's just a troll.
You want
It's a shit poster.
Fuck you. Here's your punctuation.
The image of the front of the book, because you're asking about it, it says, "A pickle for the knowing ones," and it's a picture of, I assume, himself with a monstrously huge hat.
It looks like a taco.
Yeah, it looks like a giant taco. It looks like a tricorn by Lord Timothy Dexter.
And the hat has tassels?
Mm-hmm.
Like all good hats do.
Cute little dog there with him.
And his shoes look really fancy, and he's wearing some kind of like culotte pants.
Oh, and they're tied up. They're like bloused. That's nice.
They're bloused.
Bloused. Oh, here's a note to Dexter's second edition. Founder Mr. Printer, the knowing ones complaining of my book. The first edition had no stops. I put in enough here, and they may pepper and salt it as they please.
That's amazing. Incredible.
Dexter died in 1806 in Newburyport, Massachusetts. He was survived by his 2 children, Samuel and Nancy, neither of whom was distinguished for strength of intellect.
Oh.
His former home became a hotel, and his estate at the time of his death was valued at $35,000, adjusted for inflation, roughly $800,000 US dollars today.
Holy shit.
This is the obituary of Lord Timothy Dexter, published October 24th, 1806. Author unknown. Departed this life on Wednesday evening last, Mr. Timothy Dexter, in the 60th year of his age, self-styled Lord Dexter, first in the East. He lived perhaps one of the most eccentric men of his time. His singularities and peculiar notions were universally proverbial. Born and bred in low condition in life, his intellectual endowments not being of the most exalted stamp. It is no wonder that a splendid fortune, which he acquired through perhaps honestly by dint of speculation and good fortune, should have rendered him, in many respects, truly ridiculous. The qualities of his mind were that of indefinite cast, which forms an exception to every other character recorded in history or known in the present age, and none but himself could be his parallel. But among the motley group of his qualities, it would be unjust to say he possessed no good ones. He certainly did. No one will impeach his honesty, and his numerous acts of liberality, both public and private, in recollection of all, while one of the items in his last will be greatly remembered. His ruling passion appeared to be popularity, and one would suppose he rather chose to render his name infamously famous than not famous at all. His writings stand as a monument of the truth of this remark. For those who have read A Pickle for the Knowing One, a jumble of letters promiscuously gathered together, find it difficult to determine whether most to laugh at the most consummate folly or despise the vulgarity and profanity of the writer. His manner of life was equally extravagant and singular. A few years since he erected in front of his house a great number of images distinguished persons in Europe and America, together with the beasts, so that his seat exhibited more than the appearance of a museum of artificial curiosities, more than the dwelling of a family. By his orders, a tomb was several years ago dug under the summer house in his garden, where he desired his remains might be deposited, and his coffin made and kept in the hall of his house, in which he is to be buried. The fortunate and singular matter of his speculations, by which he became possessed of a handsome property, are well known, and his sending a cargo of warm pans to the West Indies, where they were converted into molasses ladles and sold for a good profit, is but one of the most peculiar. His principles of religion, if they could be called principles, were equally odd. A blind philosophy peculiar to himself led him to believe in the system of transmigration at some times, and at others he expressed those clearly connected with deism. But it is not a matter of surprise that one so illiterate should have no settled or rational principles. His reason left him 2 days before his death, but he has gone to render an account of his life to a just and merciful judge. The funeral of Mr. Dexter will be tomorrow at 3 o'clock from his dwelling house.
And yeah, that's our guy.
I
That's
love him.
fucking Timothy Dexter.
He did pretty good for being an American version of Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
It's funny,
Oh my
'cause I
God.
guess you couldn't just Google, oh, the Caribbean is hot. You couldn't go average temperature in the Caribbean on Google. He might have thought, yeah, mittens to the Caribbean? Yeah, why not, right?
Exactly.
Caribbean sounds like a cold place.
Let's just send them mittens. Why not?
Do you know why his book was a bestseller? Were people buying it as a goof? Because it was so haphazardly put together?
I'm not entirely sure. I want to think it's just because he was a well-known socialite in the town, or maybe he had some other connection to the working class. Some of the little bits of research that I did here and there sort of gave the impression that he was seen kind of like the rags to riches story of, I worked hard enough, so I got there, you can too.
Well, it kind of strikes me. It's almost like it's 1700s Twitter, Like you look at Elon Musk and everything he says, and you look at what's in this book, and you're kind of like, there's some parallels.
Yeah, no kidding.
And plus, complaining is always something that works pretty good. Again, good example, Twitter, all of American right-wing talk radio.
Well, like I said, he's like the 1700s Elon Musk, and he just whatever comes into his head, off it goes into the book or off it goes into a tweet, and there you go, punctuation or not.
America's first shit poster.
And he sounds like a bit of an eccentric. Like he would probably be like a well-known figure in his neighborhood and town. I don't think he was a recluse or anything like that. So he probably had a name for himself.
If the famously illiterate person that literally sold warming pans to the Caribbean came to you and said, I wrote a book, would you not at least take a look?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain gentleman who has a resume that we're all familiar with that I can't not tune into every few months. So, like, I understand. Like, it's like, oh, what did this fellow write down?
It's true. Listeners, if you could know, if you know, you know, but if you could know, oh, it's juicy. One day perhaps.
When the legal stuff is taken care of.
We'll fill you in once we can talk about it.
Oh my god.
We should invite him on that episode.
No.
That would be hilarious. I've often said we need to have him as a guest. I just want to put that out there on the record that I've said that he should be a guest one day. And we don't
still
edit
types
anything.
me paragraphs.
We don't edit anything, so that can't be argued it was out of context or whatever, and just let him talk.
Oh.
I'm going to ask him about the aliens transporting oil to the tear ducts of statues. Should be a good time.
Fuck.
So we've talked some vague bullshit. But yeah, it's interesting seeing these like larger than life figures thriving in their time against all odds. The 1700s weren't a forgiving time period, like especially for people trying to go into business in like America and all that. It was a pretty cutthroat, unforgiving time, and he seemed to thrive pretty well.
Yes, Lord Timothy Dexter 100% was just like out there living his best life.
He really was.
The thing that I find a little bit interesting about it is the primary source for a lot of this info is literally just this book, but I'm assuming there's some corroborating stories from different people in Newburyport that helped confirm that this legend of Dexter actually had some weight to it, and it wasn't just him talking out of his ass and puffing himself up to be bigger than he was.
Right.
Hell, maybe he was a time traveler and just knew what to do.
Even if it was him just talking out his ass and puffing up, that's a hell of a story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Credit where credit is due.
It's kind of like Donald Trump in a way, you know? Just making shit up and just letting that stream of consciousness fly. And, I'm so good. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm a good business person. I understand business. No one understands business better than me, I tell you,
Yes,
and he writes a book about it, like another guy who wrote a book like that,
Right, and it is just a stream of what can be charitably called consciousness.
It's not even punctuation.
These warming pans are the greatest. I got the greatest warming pans.
Nobody has better warming pans than me. I'll tell you. Look, I can sell mittens in the Caribbean. I can.
I took mittens to the Caribbean, and then they took them to China, and that's how I made my dollars.
And we're going to catch all the kittens and make the Caribbean pay for it.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's a good one to end it on.
Take us on out then.
For Occultae Veritatis, this is Misfit.
Sage Murray.
Ood Gallifrey.
Richard Bigley.
Oh, fuck Richard.
Leon Filger.
Richard Bigley.
Jack Spratt.
Oh, we'll get this one of these times.
And the soundboard demon, you cuck.
I'm a rude fucker. God damn it.
Thanks for listening to us, and hope you have a great day.
Love you. Bye.
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 Alrighty, playing us out this episode and meeting you in the after show, we have Leon Filger with their cover of Body in a Box by City and Color. Enjoy and see Leon in the after show.
There's a funeral procession on the highway. Traffic screeches to a halt. people searching for a better way to live their lives. Oh, well, Johnny lived a good life, you'll hear them say, as tears of sadness soak the ground. The reaper crept in, took his breath away in the middle of the night. Oh, we celebrate the lives of the dead. It's like a man's best party, only happens when he dies. We gather round to pay our respects while their souls are still searching for the light. Searching for the light. So please don't come to me on my dying day. Just let me go in peace. With all the things that I forgot to say racing through my mind. Oh, don't you bury me 6 feet underground. Just burn my body in a box and let my ashes blow with the wind out into the night sky. We celebrate the lives of the dead. It's like a man's best party, only happens when he dies. We gather round to pay our respects while their souls are still searching for the light. Searching for the light. Searching for the light. Searching for the light.
Hello, occultists, and welcome to the after show. My name is Leon Filger. Let's chat. So, yesterday I ordered a bunch of OVPOD bumper stickers. It says Occultae Veritatis Podcast, OVPOD.ca. It's white writing on black. I picked a nice font. They're really pretty. They'll be arriving at the end of July. So if you want to get your hands on one of these, the cost is $3 plus shipping to wherever you live. However, if you can promise me, like fucking cross your heart and hope to die, that you will actually put this sticker on your bumper, I will send it to you for free and cover the postage. So if you want a sticker, pay for it. If you put it on your bumper, I'll pay for it. That's the end of the after show. Talk to you later. Bye.
If you want to participate in that, just hit our email box, feedback@ovpod.ca, or just DM any of our social media accounts. See you all next week when we cover some more strange bullshit. Bye-bye.